Caren McSherry, who I've known for quite some time. She does so much. I don't actually know how you actually sleep at all. And she's running quite a lot in Vancouver, so she owns Gourmet Warehouse, not far from here. She's author of 7 cookbooks. That was just in her latest cookbook launch. She's on Global TV. She's on CKNW. Please join me in welcoming Caren.
Thank you all for being here. It's always an inspiration to talk to people. I've been accused of very high energy, and I still have it, so I'm just going to roll with it. I like Paul, wrote nothing down. We always get the big shot that does the show, but you know. I'm going to start from saying that I grew up in the East End. I actually went to Templeton High School, and the weird thing is now I'm back in the East End with my business. I left high school and had really shitty jobs and hated them all because I knew I didn't want to go to university. So I got a really bad job as a dental assistant, moved on from that and went into work for BC Tel. I thought, this is my life, I'm going to just rip my hair out and kill myself. So it was when the 747s first came into being. They were just launched and CPR was hiring, and they were hiring 4 French flight attendants, and I'm like, why the hell did I not pay attention in French 7, 8, 9, 10? What was I thinking? Cheating! You can't cheat! Raison d'etre, here it comes. Anyways, I got hired and I flew around the world and I loved it. While I was flying around the world, I realized that food was truly my passion. And I learned so much because I would be in Amsterdam and London and Japan and Thailand, and you would see all the great cuisines of the world, which was very inspiring to me. I knew then that I did not want to push a cart down an aisle till I was 92, serving cookies and coffee, no. And I sort of then realized, because we got great vacation, and don't forget, we flew for free. So I spent 10 years of my life as a flight attendant going to culinary schools around the world because I could. I would fly to Thailand for free. Before Thai cooking, before anybody knew what Galambal was, I was already in Thailand at the Oriental learning Thai cuisine, coming back and gathering all my studies. And then I opened a little cooking school in my little house on East Georgia Street, Georgia and Renfrew. I bought a house for $42,000 when I was 24 years old, and I took the back end off the house and put in a little cooking school, and I taught people cooking. So I'd go to fly, come home, I went to Thailand, I'm going to teach Thai food. I went to Japan, I'm going to teach Japanese food. I went to Italy, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I went to the CIA in Poughkeepsie in upstate New York, and I thought I was really a big shot then because now I'm playing with the big boys. I came back with a catering degree. Maybe I should try catering. So I tried catering for about a year, and that was just not for me. Like schlepping dishes in and out, cleaning, and every weekend you're a train wreck. No dates. And you smell like garlic. No, I'm out. I'm out. So I sort of pursued the cooking school avenue, and it was really working well for me. So I'd fly during the week, fly weekends, and teach cooking classes during the week. So I would do 2 a week, and it was fantastic. And then it just rolled and rolled and rolled, and no one was doing it. They were only offering it was when there was still the dripping candle in that Chianti bottle with a check tablecloth happening in the 80s. Nobody really had a clue as to really the guts of good cooking. And I was learning all this because I've been to Europe like 15 times, and it was fantastic. So I got married, and I was then had my babies, and it was like time to move this cooking gig out of my house. It just wasn't working. So my then husband had a warehouse in the East End, and I built a really cool cooking school that I could teach 30 people. And then I was in a big international association, and I used to bring Jacques Pan and Hugh Carpenter, and Julia Child was at my cooking school, and we had the best classes ever. I think I probably taught 50, 60,000 people over the last 38 years that I've been teaching, that many. Then the move was that I needed to leave that location because it was a separation, and so I moved into where I am now on East Hastings Street. I thought my store needs a storefront. And so it was a dump. I went to City Hall to get a permit, and they looked at me and they said, "You look like actually a clean-cut girl. Do you have any idea about this building?" They have raves. It's a grow-up.
Yeah, that's right.
It is the biggest nightmare that you're going to get into. I said, it's all about the money. This neighborhood was trash then. It was about 2000, 1999, 2001. It was terrible. Anyways, probably the best move I ever made now that we all know where the city is with property and land and everything. But I little by little cleaned it up and proceeded to teach classes and got into retail. So I thought, you know what's missing is that everything is so expensive. Gourmet food is expensive, every equipment is expensive. I'm gonna offer something that's really good. I'm gonna be the pioneer of offering gourmet food at prices everybody can afford. That was my mandate. So that's what I did. Making gourmet affordable was my bite. And so that's what I did. And I got into so much trouble with the big global suppliers like Brown and Global and Allclad and all these places. They would come knocking on my door and saying, "You can't discount this pot. This is a global market and you can't. It's $200. And I said, no. You know what? Your salesman gets his commission. I pay my bills. The customer's happier than a fart. I'm the only one that's taking a loss on this, so you can leave me alone." So then they TOS me, in our terms, temporarily out of stock. So then I found out you can't do that in Canada. There is no price fixing in Canada. So I became sort of this warrior for making things right. And I said, it's called the Anti-Combines Act in Canada, and if you'd like me to pursue it, I will. Funny, I got my order. But that's how it sort of grew from really small to really big. And then little by little, as I got money, I was very careful because the banks did not give you money then. You had to have it. And I grew it, and the building just sort of, I inched myself over every 4 years. I add a little bit more on. Then I had this wild idea that I should, I think radio's really boring. Why don't I just get a radio job? Food and wine. That would be a great thing to do. So I called my friend Fanny Kiefer, and she goes, "Caren, they're firing people. There are no women in radio. CKNW is a boys' club. It's not going to happen." Okay, now I'm challenged. I'm challenged. What do you mean? So I sat down and I wrote this whole story on why I thought that news should have a lighter tone, why people shouldn't on the weekend have a lift in their life rather than going home with 3 murderers, a 10-car pileup, and you're never going to get home till tomorrow. Why don't we talk about what they're going to eat? What do people like on their ride home? What are they like? In my mind, I'm driving up the cut thinking, what's to drink and what am I cooking? That's the highlight after a hard day's work. I don't want to hear about like the murders and the everything. So I wrote a proposal, got an appointment with the program director, and he said, "Tell me how you could possibly fill a weekly show with food." Oh, hold me back. Where do I start? So I picked up the salt shaker, and I said, "Do you want me to start here?" And I said, "I could give you a 2-hour dissertation on salt." And he said, "Oh my God, you're hired." Didn't know a thing about radio. They put me down in the seat, behind the controls, and they go, "You're on." Holy shit, what did I get myself into? I'm panicked, I can't breathe, and it was then when you had to have guests, and I'm thinking, these people, this girl's really good, so I invite her in, and I said, "How are you? Welcome to the show, and what do you like to do?" "Cook." "What do you cook?" "Cook for my husband." Okay, this is dead, or I'm fired in about 8 seconds. I'm going to get the hook out. So I learned how to carry a story on air for an hour. I had the first food and wine show on radio in Vancouver, and it was a really nasty, nasty time. It was 6 o'clock on a Sunday. So I did it for about 18, 19 months, and I get a call in from the program director, and sit down, and you always know sit down. I don't want to sit down. You know what? We couldn't, if Larry King couldn't fill the 6 o'clock slot, it was really poor of us to think that you could. Oh, and I'm trying to hold that frog, and that frog's crawling up my throat, and it's already here, and I'm just like, you are not gonna cry. You're a big girl. Pull up your big girl panties and just say, okay. And you just wanna, Anyways, through working at NW, I met Bill Good, who ended up being a very good friend of mine. And he, one of the producers from CKNW, after I got fired, invited me to come and do a segment at Global TV. So I went on a Saturday morning, and they loved the energy and what I had to offer and what all the culinary questions that I could answer, because it just happened to know it all, because I'd been around the world 72 times and knew all the cuisines. And so that's how I got onto Global. So then NW phoned me back. They rehired me back to be on with Bill Good every week. So then Bill retired, and then they fired me again. And then about a year and a half ago, they called me up and they said, the void is still there. Would you come back? And I said, this is 3 times. Is that 3 times lucky or 3 times fired? So now I do a weekly show Fridays with Simi Sara, who's a real foodie. You have to be with somebody that feels it, that loves the food. If you're talking to a stone that doesn't eat, it doesn't work. It's gotta be a jive. And so I do that Fridays, and then I do a Cooking 101 segment for Global TV. This week just happens to be one of those fun weeks where we do the Junior Chef Challenge, so I'm the senior judge. 5 local chefs are paired with a junior chef, I think 8 to 12 years old, and they mentor them. And then in between, I have to pick the 5 ingredients. So this week I picked I thought, what can I eat every day that I'm not gonna die? Kids really don't like fish, so let's skip fish, because that would be it could turn ugly. So I did ground turkey, prosciutto, endive, beets, and then I had to throw in a zinger, so I threw in marshmallows. So this morning I got a beet stuffed in a marshmallow torched. Kind of like a beet s'more, not so good. Anyways, in between all of this, as I digressed and sort of skipped over, my store did well, it did better, it did best. We've won a lot of awards. Last year we were given the GI Award, it's called, and I was nominated to represent Canada as the Store of the Year against 13 countries worldwide. We came in 3rd. We didn't win, but we at least represented our country, which was really cool. And then about 25 years ago, I co-founded, with the advice of Julia Child, Les Dames d'Escoffier. So it is a group of women, it's global, it's in 23 countries worldwide, and it's women that are in hospitality, wine, beverage, and food. And what we do is we raise money to give women-only scholarships, either in wine making, food scholarships to different universities or different culinary schools, so that we can lift them up, because it is a male-dominated business and has been for a long time. We're trying to make inroads for women, young women that don't have the money to go to school, and that's what we do. So we've just celebrated our 25th anniversary with Les Dames d'Escoffier, which all the girls in this city are everybody that's anybody in food is a member, and it's a very cool thing. And I always believe that giving back is of huge importance, and if you've been given 4 aces, and I'm with Paul, if you call me lucky, I'm really cranky, because I'm not lucky. I worked 2 jobs for 30 years. I scraped, I saved, I had mortgages, I did everything I could, and tried to reinvent yourself. Every time a food trend changes, you've got to know it before it hits, or you're out of business. And so I follow that, and I follow giving back. And so five years ago, I decided that because I'm in the East End, you kind of give where you live. And so I founded a charity called the Chocolate Challenge. I'm so sad to see children walking up the streets with their little backpacks every morning when I come to work, and they're empty and they're hungry, and it's a little bit better in this neighborhood now that it's sort of gentrified and it's getting better, but 5-10 years ago it was horrifying. And so we have a chocolate challenge, which we bring all the top pastry chefs and chocolatiers in the city, and we bring them into the store. Richard's been many times, and they create a chocolate or a bonbon, and then we sell tickets. And the people's choice choose the chocolate that they like best. So it's always a battle between Thomas Haas, Greg Hook, Chris Bonzon, and five every year. So now we donate to the Strathcona Backpack Program that feeds kids, the Firemen Fighters Snack Program. And so I believe very strongly that when you have successes, it's up to you to build your community to give back. And so that's what I do in this hood, because we really single-handedly cleaned it up. When I was there, I'm telling you, there were johns and needles, and you'd open up the door and you never know what you'd find. I'm chasing them down the street. I got your number. Get out of my lane. This is my lane. Anyways, it's much, much, much better now. It's really becoming a very nice neighborhood, and I feel really proud to have been part of it. The Georgia Strait did a whole story about 3 years ago on cleaning it up, and they put the Gourmet Warehouse on the front page saying thank you for persevering and being here when nobody else wanted to be, because they didn't. God, City Hall still thinks I'm crazy. So writing cookbooks, global, working, and I still work every day. I'm very lucky that I have 2 adult children. One of them works with me. I'm hoping that she will relieve me so that I can not be so much. I don't have to work at night. That's why I'm not in the restaurant business. People ask me all the time, why don't you have a restaurant? Are you kidding me? Oh, no. I want to go home at night and drink wine and eat. And 3 years ago, I thought that the only other accent that I could have that would feed onto Gourmet Warehouse was to get into international buying. So I bought an international food distribution company, which now brings in, we buy from Spain, Italy, France, UK, and we bring in all the beautiful global products, which then I in turn sell in my store, and now nobody can tell me what I can sell them for, because I'm my own distributor. So we sell to restaurants, hotels, boutique stores, and we represent global brands like, you familiar with sherry vinegars, olive oils, balsamics, all the things that everybody wants to eat every day. And that's what we do at Gourmet Warehouse. We try to bring gourmet, make it affordable, make it friendly. We have chefs on staff so that when you come in and you have a food dilemma, we can answer that dilemma. So it's sort of a store for cooks, but it's a store for home cooks without an attitude and without a problem. And you feel comfortable. We do cooking classes upstairs, and it's really a really good feel in there. It's very homey. You don't have to, it's not about Renfrew. You're not dressing up when you go in. You feel comfy and happy, and food is that. Food wraps itself around you, and that's what you do. It's the one common denominator that we all have, whatever your race, religion, beliefs, whatever. When you sit down for a funeral, a birth, a wedding, a birthday, the one thing we all have in common, no matter what we are, it's food. And we all come together with food. I'm very fortunate to be in this business because that's the denominator that makes people happy. And I'm so fortunate that I picked that because I wasn't good in math. Thank you so much for your time.